Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been a little while since I've got some video content for you guys, but today we'll have a lot of different updates, lots of different parts and things I've ordered. And I'm going to actually install some stuff today. I may get a little bit of footage of that, and I wanted to bring you guys into the loop. So before we get into that, people that have been affected by the storms, flooding, tornadoes, I hope everybody's safe and okay. It came through my area of Tennessee over the last week. We've had some pretty bad stuff. Unfortunately, nothing's happened to my home and my friends and family. But if it's affected you, I hope you are doing well and you're getting the resources you need to take care of yourself and your family. So this might be kind of like a harness my inner Billy Mays, because there's going to be a lot of different things to cover on parts, but then wait, there's more. It's kind of how this is probably going to go. So I'm excited to get into it, and let's get started. All right, I don't think I double tapped some of these parts, but when it comes to fuel, those that know from previous videos kind of what the plan is. So I'm going to be running the IDX 1050 injectors. I've been kind of searching around figuring out what fuel pump I was going to run, because I am going to be running the CJ Motorsports return. I think it's the S1. So I'm going to use the factory feed line, have a return line, and then do the, of course, the fuel return correction kit that goes into the basket. So I ended up picking up the Aeromotive 450 in-tank pump. I shopped around and kind of was considering different options, and this one was in stock through F&G Performance, and pretty much everything I think I have to show you guys today, pretty sure I got all from F&G. So those that have been following the channel a while know that I use F&G every chance that I get. Those guys have been a great help on the channel, great help for parts. And if you need stuff, any parts that you see here and you're interested in getting them also for your 350Z, or really any parts in general, if you have a truck, if you have a Jeep, if you have Nissan, anything domestic, it doesn't matter. If you have a part number and you're curious if we can get it for you, just let me know and we can get you set up. So here's the 450, nothing crazy to see. This should do well for the power goals for the car with a single pump setup. Probably anything more if I was trying to go big power, you know, probably pushing well over 700 mark at the wheels. Would need something probably a little bit more robust, but for the goals of what we're trying to do, this is going to do the trick. Now, to get this thing wired up in the way that everything I've researched shows is the best way to do it, I ended up picking up a relay kit, also from, gosh, I actually got this from Concept Z. So I was shopping around on Concept Z, and they have this awesome wiring fuel pump hardware kit, so you can see how that's set up. And this allows you to run a direct power source off of the battery and a relay to make sure you get a constant, clean connection and voltage, all the things that you need for a fuel pump that's going to be running on a return system. So that's the fuel setup. I think I finally have everything I need once I decide to get into the fuel tank and start doing those updates. But wait, there's more. So I finally was able to pick out gauges. So I went with Innovate gauges, got these from F&G Performance again, and was kind of shopping around trying to figure out how do I want the inside of the car to look and feel, and I was considering running the A-pillar double, triple type setup to be able to track everything I want in the car. But the more I thought about it, I would really like a clean setup using the OEM triple pillar that's in the middle on the waterfall, and was figuring out the best way to do that. So that with Innovate, if you're familiar with these guys, they have multi-function gauges that do all things kind of in one gauge, which is really nice. So I'll walk you through the three that I picked out and show you what I'm planning to do. So I'll also kind of do, this might be a little bit longer of a video because I kind of want to do a what's in the box type setup, which everything you get when you get Innovate. This specific gauge is actually water. Oh, no, this is oil pressure and oil temp. So I'm going to try to keep this stuff all put together and not taking it completely out of the box. But it comes with all the sensors you need. So this is your oil temp sensor. Any other connections? Here's a, if you're familiar with the way the OEM oil pressure sensor looks, this is basically the same type style, and this will hook up so you can monitor your oil pressure. And it's a 2-in-1, which is really nice. So that way I don't have to use two locations. I can use one and get all things oil pressure and temperature recorded, not really recorded, but monitored while you're driving the car. All right, the next gauge that I got from Innovate is, for some reason, I don't know why they put battery voltage with this one, but it's a water temperature and battery voltage together. So basically looks the same. They do come with different color bezels on these if you want. I believe it has, yeah, here's the alternate, so the silver bezel, if you want to have that look. I'm not sure what route I'm gonna go. I'm thinking about doing the silver just because those familiar, I think the 370s might be the same, but at least with the 350s and the early model 350s, you have silver bezels around most of the interior pieces. So around the door handle and around the OEM gauges in the waterfall, you get that silver bezel. So right now it comes with the black one on it. I'll actually open this up to show you something else, but this is kind of what it looks like. Nice and clean. You got the silver bezel, and then of course you can change the face as well to a white face. So it comes with all this stuff to give you options, which is super cool. Helps you customize kind of what you want stuff to look like while you're getting functionality from your gauges. All right, last but certainly not least gauge from Innovate is the PSB1 boost gauge and air fuel ratio in one. So when I was looking around at different options, I liked that I could get both together. But the cool part about this gauge is it has some safety features. I actually pulled out the manual to make sure I was accurate in it. It has a power safe relay output. So what that means is using the power safe functions, the PSB1 can interrupt a boost control solenoid based on programmed lean AFR and or max boost pressure values. So the nice part about that is the safety feature. So for some reason the car has a fuel issue, my fuel pump has an issue, the relay has an issue suddenly while I'm at wide open throttle or just driving, and this gauge sees a drop and it goes to a very lean condition, which is pretty dangerous, it will effectively, from what I've gathered, a little bit of research, still have more research to do, it will drop the car down to wastegate pressure. So it'll basically take the boost control solenoid out of the equation, which I plan to probably run the HKS boost control, which I haven't ordered yet, but I'm kind of getting close to wanting to do that. And then the same with pre-programmed air fuel ratio. So it can monitor all the things. So if air fuel ratio gets to a certain point where it's deemed dangerous, I think it has an audible function. I'm not sure. I'm gonna read a little bit more into that. But the built-in safety features are awesome, and it just gives you that comfort and peace of mind that if something starts getting weird, this gauge and setup will try to save you. So definitely something to look into. Those are all the gauges. We still have more to cover. All right, this next one's kind of a heavy boy, so I'm gonna grab the camera here in a second, but I think I can at least pick it up and show you. But we got the Exedy, or Exedy, however you say it, Hyper Series twin disc clutch. I did a little research into this, same story, so through F&G Performance, great setup. When you're doing the research on kind of how you want the car to operate, now, my knowledge on all things clutches, I'd say about average, maybe a little bit above average, because there's so much that goes into it. I've watched YouTube videos, did reading online, trying to figure out how do I want the car to function and drive. And the last thing I wanted is a super heavy clutch on the street that is uncomfortable to drive. I want to enjoy the car when I'm driving it. So what you get with a multi-disc, I'll start opening this up so we can see what's going on inside of here and what you get with it. So all your paperwork, necessary information, fitting instructions. It gives you the torque for bolts that you need depending on the clutch, and of course install. Comes with a clutch alignment tool, which is super helpful. Of course the stickers, because more horsepower. And I've already opened this up. That's what this tape is. I always like to open it, make sure everything looks copacetic. But we'll get this open so you can kind of see it. It has the beautiful purple finish on here. It's awesome. I just love the way it looks. I hate that when you install this, you actually won't even see it. So I took the cardboard out to hopefully give you a little bit better view, so you can see down here kind of what those, yeah, you get a little bit of a view there, not much of one. What multi-disc clutches do, the advantage. So you get more friction and surface area with a multi-disc that allows you to hold more power and torque, but maintain drivability. Now, when you start getting into the different types of material clutches you can get, from what I've seen on here, I may be wrong. If I'm incorrect, definitely feel free to drop a comment and let me know. But you can get a carbon-carbon twin disc, and you can get a cerametallic twin disc. Carbon-carbon has a lot more heat capacity and can hold the power, and I think wears a little bit better. Maybe misspeaking, can't really recall. But the thing about a carbon-carbon is you have to get the heat into it for it to grab. And once you get the heat into it, it'll grab and hold. But for what I wanted the same friction coefficient driving around the street. If the car is cold or it's not up to full temp, and I'm not driving it super hard, but I want to roll into it and do a pull, I want it to hold. So I went with the cerametallic discs, which are a little bit heavier. Their capacity for heat over the long term isn't quite as good, but the cold friction coefficient is much better, and it's much better for the street. So went with that, and it's also got, I believe, the HD pressure plate. So it has supposedly a bit more firm of a pedal than stock. So hopefully we're good to go. This should be a great addition. I had an exity clutch previously. Let's see if he's hiding over here under some family room paint. But yeah, this is my old Z1 clutch sitting under there, street clutch. I actually still have it if somebody needs it. It's got some miles on it. I think it's in good condition. If you're in need of a clutch, just let me know, and we can get this shipped out to you. There's more. So, kind of last minute decision. I made a spontaneous purchase. When I say spontaneous, I mean when you do a build like this, and I wouldn't even say mine is the most crazy over the top, but when you're going to pull a motor, have the motor built or do it yourself, turbo, fuel, all the things, a lot of it is pre-planned. You're thinking, sometimes you write it out. Me, I'll just be sitting brainstorming all the time. Like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to need that. Well, if I do that, I'm probably going to need this. So, and it's a slippery slope, but sometimes you come across pretty cool opportunities and you're thinking, hey, might as well try to go ahead and grab this while the car's apart, while I'm at it. So I decided to purchase a new set of coilovers. So F&G Performance, those guys, again, you're going to hear me continue to talk about them. They reached out and let me know, because I'd mentioned it just in passing months ago, if not over a year ago, that, hey, I would love to try these specific coilovers, but they're not always in stock. Sometimes they take a long time to get in stock, but it would be cool to have those someday. Well, I get a message from them, say, hey, man, we just got a notification. There's one set in the warehouse that's available in the States, ready to ship to you if you want them. So, of course, the pressure mounts, and I decided to order them. So let's let you check those out and talk about the old coils that I pulled off that are actually available for sale. Here are my used KW V2s. As you can see, they are in phenomenal condition, nice and clean. I've had these for a few years. They've got about 25,000 miles on them or so. They ride great. I have no problems with them. This was not a, I hate these coils, I want to get something else. Truly, it was target of opportunity, and I wanted to try it. The KW V2s are great because you have dampening control on the top, and you are ride height adjustable, but they have a progressive spring setup. I'm not going to get into all the wickets on spring versus, or progressive versus linear, mainly because I can't speak to it super smartly. I know that they have different characteristics, and I think one is supposedly better than the other depending on the circumstance. But hey, anyway, I wanted to try out something new. So KWs are available. I have a pending sale of a buddy that's going to drive up and pick these up. If it falls through, and if you're interested in these, definitely drop me a message, a comment on Instagram, or on the comment under the videos below, and we can keep you in mind. And if the sale falls through, maybe you could be next in line. All right, so I brought you over here to the car because every time I work and go to install things, I don't always want to record on YouTube. I had a buddy that came over. It was a beautiful day a few weeks ago, and my goal was to just get the old suspension off and then potentially work on the other stuff later. But we were hanging out, and he said, hey, let's just put this stuff in. So right here, you're going to see the new coils. So I decided to pick up the HKS SP's Hypermax. I went ahead and put the fronts in. You can see them here. It's got the helper spring set up, and then a linear spring set up versus a progressive versus the KW. You get the ride height adjustment, and you get the dampening adjustment. So I'm gonna have to get in here and do this adjustment at some point. I've heard that they are preset decently well, but I'm probably gonna have to take some time and get the ride height adjusted over a period of driving and letting the springs break in. So here's some more parts. These are the other rest of the KW setup. So rear springs progressive as well, and the spring perches, and that are ride height adjustable as well. They're a little bit kind of torn up on the rubber on the bottom, but not too bad. But these are pretty much set. I haven't adjusted them really at all from where the car was riding. So if you're curious about where these are preset and how the car sits, check out Zora the Z33 on Instagram, underscores between each, and you'll be able to check that out. HKS rears are down here, so we'll get all that set up and installed on the back of the car once the whole back of the car is back together, because I'm waiting on a set of drive shaft shop axles. I'm gonna get the diff dropped off at Z1 when I go to get the motor, and have them build this heavy duty stub axles, street diff, all kinds of other things, which leads me to, I think we're near the end of the updates. is this last part, or parts, from F&G. So, SPL Pro suspension parts. I'm really excited about these. I'm probably gonna get these installed today, so I'm gonna try to capture some footage once I get them in and let you check it out. So we're at the back of the car now just to show you why. So those that aren't familiar with what's going on, we're doing the 370 hub upgrade. So I've got the 370 hubs in. To run these hubs, you have to run 370 axles. Instead of running OEM axles, I decided I'm gonna run the drive shaft shop axles, so I never have to worry about it again. But while all this is apart, I figure, hey, what should I replace while I'm in here? We've got SPL traction arms and we've got SPL camber arms. These are SPC camber arms I've had for a long time. They work great, they do fine, but I was like, hey, if I can do it, I want to go ahead and swap these out and get all of this replaced in here, ready to go for all the new power we're gonna make, and of course just convenience because it's a part and I might as well. All right, so I'll try to hold the camera here and let you guys check these out. Small box first. Cool little part that these guys make is the lockout kit. So comes with 4 total pieces per. So this is 2 lockout kits. I won't be using the lockout kit for the spring buckets, which are also the toe arms. So I don't really want to do that, mainly because that's how you adjust your toe. So if I was switching to a true coilover rear instead of the separate, as you can see here, separate spring, separate strut, when you do that, you actually use the OEM spring bucket, which I'll show you over here. This guy behind all these, this actually GT spec brace and stuff, I've gone in and you oval out that hole and you put I guess it's a teardrop washer, you might call it. That it just basically gives you that toe adjustment you need when you lower the car more. So that's why you don't want to run these. In the event that you swap the spring bucket out and you run just a straight up arm that has adjustment on it, when you switch to a true coilover, this becomes much more useful and comes into more play. But for the camber arm, I currently don't have a lockout kit on my SPCs, so I have basically 2 adjustment points on the camber arm itself, and then the bolts that are in the car. We're gonna swap those bolts out for these, lock it out, and I'll have 1 adjustment point on the SPL control arms, which I will show you next. All right, I think this first one, I'm trying to do this one-handed. Let's see. Pretty sure these, I went with the billet versions. So the billet versions are pretty slick. Got these in the plastic. I will show you these once I start working later and getting stuff taken out. I'll pull these out to install. But all billet, one piece. Really just a beautiful part. Got these from F&G again. You may notice too, what's neat is it's got this separated, I guess you'd call it an inset. It's kind of offset a little bit, this curve right here. And according to their website, the reason they do that is so you could fit a little bit more space for some heavily offsetted wheels if you needed more room for width and things like that. So pretty cool, awesome piece. You can get them through F&G. Let me know if you need some. All right, so I think the last thing here, it's just the other SPL arms, and these are the camber arms. Also the billet versions. So you can see the design here. Really sharp, nice and light, aluminum strong. Got these solid bushings here on this end. Nice pretty blue hardware. And these will replace the SPC arms that I have. So that's pretty much it on all the parts and all the updates. I don't think there's anything else. Oh, the only thing is I do have the white line bushings pretty much throughout the car. These specific bushings are for the rear strut mount on the knuckle. So I'm probably going to swap these in as things go back together. I don't have all of the bushings in the rear knuckle completely swapped out. Now what I have done is I have the rear subframe Z1 inserts put in to solidify that up a little bit. But I've decided more or less to not just bother with the whole knuckle because most of those bushings are in good shape. Nothing's torn, everything's fine. There will be a little give in there, but swapping these out to the solid fittings on their ends, it's going to be okay. I'm not that concerned about it. I just really don't want to spend, to really do it right, I'd have to take this whole hub out, disconnect everything, pull all the control arms out, pull the whole knuckle out, and then get all of them swapped out. The reason I'm going to do the other is because it's pretty easy to get to. The others, not so much, so I'm not as concerned about it. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it for this update in this video. I'm going to do a little bit of work today. I'm going to try to get the OEM traction arms out, take the SPC control arms out, and get these SPL arms installed, hopefully. I feel like it's a beautiful day. I want to turn some music on, so I may not record that, but I will show you guys in the next video of those things installed. For those that have been following me on Instagram, the motor short block is basically assembled by my assembler Kyle down in Atlanta. He's been doing some really awesome work. The engine came back from EP Racing out of Texas. The machining work is beautiful. So hopefully we're on track, fingers crossed, for 2 to 4 weeks maybe from now. I'm going to take a trip down there. We're going to drop the differential off at Z1. We're going to pick the motor up and bring it back, and then all the fun stuff will start. So once that point hits, I'll be replacing all of the accessories on the motor. So I'm going to get new starter, new power steering pump, probably new AC pump, new alternator, just because everything that's in the car is basically 20 years old almost. Worked fine when I pulled it off, but what I don't want to deal with is putting the motor in, strapping this turbo kit to it makes it harder to get at everything, and then an alternator goes out, power steering pump starts whining and going out. So we're gonna go get some quality replacements, swap those on so when the motor goes in, it's all nice and pretty. So I think that's it. So keep me, turn on the updates, like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think. I know this video is a little bit longer, and I'm actually finally, I think, getting to the point where all the updates are done and complete, and I'll be able to show you things as it actually starts going back together. So thanks for sticking with me through everything thus far. And the last several chunks of videos have been kind of the same things, just updates and parts as they come in. But hopefully what you pull out of this is it takes time, it takes planning, and sourcing all these parts and thinking of all the things is fun to me. I like doing that, that's in my nature. But if you need help and you have questions, definitely drop me a line, comment, message me on Instagram, anything. I try to help as many people as I can. I try to respond to just about every comment on YouTube as well. So thanks for sticking around. And again, last thing, last plug. If you need parts, let me know. We will help you out. We will find a way to get it to you through F&G. So thanks, guys. We'll see you the next time.